You are listening to the Fancy Free podcast where my guests and I tell our most embarrassing, funny stories so that we all feel less alone in our imperfections and forge connection through vulnerability and humor. I'm Joanne Jarrett, and I'm your host. And today I have a repeat guest, Nickey Dunn. She's the one who had the crazy anesthesia reaction, and she had more stories, but I had so many questions about that we didn't have time to go into them. So here she is again. Nickey is a working full-time wife and mom of 3. She spends what little free time she has taking kids to sports and other activities and making food they refuse to eat. She's a freelance writer, aspiring novelist, and IMDb trivia submission enthusiast. She grew up in Washington State, but currently lives in Phoenix, Arizona. She's also an Irish Aries Enneagram 6 with OCD. Nickey, thank you so much for coming back on with me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Okay, well, listeners, Nickey and I have just been catching up over the last 15 minutes because it's been a while since we talked and so much is going on in both of our lives. But let's just do a couple of rapid fire questions we didn't get to last time.
Sure.
All right, what is your love language?
I'm a split physical touch and words of affirmation.
Okay, awesome. I say to that, your husband's a lucky man because I'm like a porcupine. I'm not a physical touch person, and he is. So it doesn't like occur to me to put that kind of olive branch out, you know?
Yeah.
Now that I've learned about it, I've been able to give that to him so much more. I mean, there's the obvious sexual intimacy that occurs in any healthy romantic relationship, but it's so much like the hugging and the touching that he needs, especially when we're, disagreeing on something. It's been a huge lesson for me to learn. Is your husband sort of a naturally physically touchy guy?
No.
Oh, he's not. Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, his love language is quality time. Like he wants people who are important to him, in his presence. He wants to spend time. He likes to have experiences. And I call myself a Labrador retriever. I'm always like jumping up like, hi, how was your day? Pay attention to me. How can I just lay in your lap and you can scratch my head?
Give me a hug and tell me I'm a good girl and send me on my way. And he's like, wait, Where are you going?
We both work from home. We're kind of on opposite sides of the house. And if he comes into my space just to check in, say, how's the day? I'm like, how was your day? How were your calls? Who did you talk to? What have you been doing? So I very much have that energy where I constantly am looking for him to also be in my presence. But I also want like him to ask, how was your day? Or, oh, you look nice today. Or thanks for doing dishes. I am just like that. We're both the oldest children in our family, but our family dynamics are also very different as well. So I think that probably plays in a lot to it as well.
Interesting. I have learned to just go after the words of affirmation that I'm looking for. Because for me, apparently, it doesn't have to be spontaneous. Even if I prompt it, it still makes me feel good.
I do that also.
I know that. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, I dressed up the other day. My daughter had senior pictures. Side note, the photographer no-showed. Can you believe that?
What?
So crazy. So it's hair and makeup for my daughter that my other daughter did for her that took time, Then it's outfits for her. My our boy who's living with us, his mother was visiting, so she had hair and makeup and outfits. I had hair and makeup and outfits because we were going to do a couple mother-kid shots, and then outfits for Michael and the doggone photographer no show. But we still got some really good shots. But anyway, so I come out and I'm like, hair, makeup, and outfit. How often do these 3 align in my husband's presence? Like once a year, if especially the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, I can probably count on 2 hands the number of times I've straightened my hair since we moved to Montana. And it looks way better straight than curly because it's kind of like an ugly curly where it's just kind of bent and frizzy. But I don't care. I just wear it curly because it's a little more humid here. But anyway, so I come out and my husband's sitting in his chair. He's watching me walk down the hall and he's asking me some logistics question. And I'm like, I'm looking at him like, seriously, like you're not going to say anything about this fabulousness walking towards you. And finally I just did a curtsy and he was like, oh my God, you look so good. And I'm like, thank you.
You're like, line. Oh, honey.
Hello.
You look
wonderful. Exactly. Prompt.
I totally get that. I will do that too. My husband is incredibly intelligent. His brain works like a spreadsheet. It's just numbers and facts and data. And mine is on the mass creative side. And so I do have to prompt him sometimes. So I will say like, wow, this kitchen it was a mess a little while ago. Gee, I wonder what happened. Thanks for cleaning the kitchen. Or, taking kids here and there, like, oh, yeah, I barely sat down today. I just came from soccer. And he's like, oh, thanks for taking the kids. So we kind of have to play off that aspect of it. But I literally will just flop in his lap.
Oh, that's so cute. I love relationship dynamics. And I could probably talk to you because it seems like you love them too. I could probably talk to you for the next hour about how interesting
definitely.
our different personality combinations are. And yeah, I think my husband is very factual and black and white too.
Mm-hmm.
He's like thoughts and numbers and spreadsheets and future and what needs to be done to make sure
Yes.
we have what we need. And I'm all about intuition and feelings. And does everyone have what they need in the moment? And how does everybody feel? And what deeper meaning can I glean from this and that? And so it's like, we're really complimentary for each other, but can be kind of bonkers.
Yeah, I tell my husband, I said, if there's something I want you to remember, like an important date or an anniversary or something like that, I'm just going to assign a number to it. Like, as it's happening in the moment, like we're at Glacier National Park and looking at these beautiful waterfalls, and I'm just going to, assign a number like 245. And then, 5 years down the road, I'll be like, you remember 245 when we were at the waterfall? So he can recall it out of his brain.
I love it. You're like, I know how your brain works. Here I go with my workaround.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, what was the worst job you ever had?
Oh, hands down, my worst job I ever had. I was 16 and I worked at the Golden Corral buffet in our hometown. The hometown that we grew up in, the Golden Corral was like the nice restaurant. Like,
oh, wow.
If your family came in from out of town, you took them to Golden Corral. That was really what we had growing up.
Okay.
And it was, it was just so terrible. And I honestly believe that my boss was a pedophile.
Ew. Oh my gosh.
He was just so creepy, and just handling the food, and the customers were just so rude and entitled. And it was a buffet. Like, you serve yourself for the most part, but everyone was like, hey doll, can you get me some butter? For the most part, I don't eat salads from the buffet because really they just take the dressing that's been sitting out on the buffet all day and just dump new dressing on top of it.
Ew.
I know.
Okay, good to know.
Taking pudding back to the room and like just picking stuff out of it and like putting it back. Now,
what?
I am sure that health code changes have since my time as a 16-year-old.
Currently open Golden Corral restaurants, right?
I went to a Golden Corral in Bakersfield, California. It seemed like it was to a much higher standard, but mine was terrible. I didn't know what to do. And so I wanted to quit. My dad told me I had to at least make it a month. And I was like struggling to make it. And then I broke down at my friend's house and I asked him if he would call and pretend to be my dad and quit for me. And so he did.
Oh my gosh. Brilliant.
He called and he said, she's not comfortable in this environment. She feels like it's very awkward and she's just not comfortable working there. And I was like, oh, thank goodness you're a heaven sent. So yes, that was by far the worst job.
Oh, yeah.
I worked retail and I worked at gyms. I mean, they had their moments for sure, but I feel like that 1 month at the Golden Corral was the worst.
Yeah, food service can be really rough.
Yeah.
I worked a lot at Sizzler as a waitress before I got my skills,
Oh, my grandma, my grandpa, and my mom, Sizzler was their jam. Like, the steak and shrimp at Sizzler, like, don't speak against it. That would be blasphemy at their level.
Okay.
Sizzler.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, I loved working there actually because it was really great money for an unskilled laborer, and I absolutely had so much fun having a grumpy table, and like, I will convert these people to jolly people before they walk out the door. And it worked a lot of times. And it was just like this little personal challenge that I always had.
Yeah.
But one time I went into the walk-in fridge to get more cherry tomatoes and I dropped a whole case of cherry tomatoes and they just went rolling like to every corner of the walk-in.
Oh,
and the floor of the walk-in wasn't that clean. And I was like,
right?
I don't know. What the heck? What am I supposed to do? Is there a camera in here? And I mean, I had all these like sinful thoughts, like, I'm just going to pick them up and pretend it never happened.
5-second rule, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I am a super conscientious germaphobe, and I'm an old soul, and I was probably 17-year-old when that happened. And I have to admit, I put the cherry tomatoes back. Now, granted, we wash them before we put them in the side salad, but still, I just put them in the case and put them back on the shelf, and I scurried my little bottom out of there because what are you going to do? And so, nasty stuff is happening at restaurants if I was behaving that way, and I am who I am. So, ew.
I had witnessed many atrocity and malfeasance in the cold storage, so I totally know what you're talking about.
It's hilarious. Well, as you know, the point of this podcast is to share, and today share more embarrassing stories so the audience knows they're not alone. And so we show what kind of connection can be forged by sharing. And it's fun because this is actually, Nickey and I feel like we're connected now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we did share some embarrassing stories the last time we spoke. And so, it's just like happening right before your eyes, guys. But anyway, what do you have for us today?
I will continue on that jobs you had before you had your big girl job that you have now. So I was working 2 jobs at the mall where I live. I was working at American Eagle, and I was doing seasonal work at Victoria's Secret for the Christmas holiday. So we live in Arizona, and even during Christmas time, it's still fairly warm here. It's not cold by any means. And at Victoria's Secret at the time, you had to wear these black blazers, almost like jackets, and long pants.
In Phoenix?
Yes. And they had to be from the same parent company. So they had to be like from the Limited. So I had to spend a pretty hefty part of one paycheck just to get outfitted to work at Victoria's Secret. If you've been to Victoria's Secret, obviously there's the lingerie section. And then on the other side, there was their collection where it's all their lotions and perfumes and bath sets and makeup and things like that. Well, I was already exhausted because I had been working. I showed up to the mall at like 8 o'clock in the morning for my first job. I had 20 minutes from my other job to Victoria's Secret to change. Didn't eat anything. So I'm living off of caffeine at this point. Super hungry, super tired. And now I'm like sweating in this very heavy black blazer jacket, long pants, high heels. I'm like, oh goodness, this is going to be a day. So it's a couple days before Christmas. So everybody is coming in. They're getting their last minute gifts. You've got the, pervy men who are just lingering in there.
And then you've got the frantic moms who are trying to fill the...
Yeah, exactly. So people are just, they're frantic all over. So I was working over in the perfume section, and I was spraying all the different perfumes. And so my jacket was just becoming like laden with all these different scents, and it just started becoming very overwhelming. Well, this older lady came in and she said that, she wanted to get something spicy for her husband, and she wanted to get a whole thing. So she was getting lingerie, the negligee, she was getting the robes, and then she wanted to get perfume. So by this time, I had been with her for about an hour. We had gone to the fitting room. We had taken a whole journey together. I learned about their entire, 45-year marriage. And we get over into the perfume section, and she's sniffing them, and she's like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. So we get to the very last one. It was called Rapture. It's a very strong, musky, it just assaults your senses.
I feel like I'm cringing just the way you described it. I'm like, ugh, yeah.
You just know immediately you're going to have a migraine. You're going to have to take 5 showers to get that smell off of you. And when I had done my orientation, we had tried all of them. I was like, okay, I'm never going to be able to sell this because it is just awful. And no offense to Victoria's Secret. Obviously, it sold very well for a particular demographic. So I go to spray it, and she's like, oh, please don't spray it on me. Can you spray it on you? I have very sensitive skin. I'm like, why would you buy this then if your skin is sensitive? But I'm trying to make a sale, so I'm trying to tough it up. So I had sprayed it on my coat sleeve, and she said, oh, there's too many smells. I can't smell it. Can you spray it on your arm? So I said, okay, fine. I pull up my jacket sleeve and I spray it on my arm, and she, smells it. She's like, oh, it's lovely. I'll buy it. Well, within just a couple seconds, my arm started turning red, And hives just started going all the way up my arm, all the way up my shoulder, all the
Oh
way
my
across my
gosh.
chest and neck. And then I just go kind of stumbling back. And she's like, "Oh, honey, are you okay?" And before I could even answer, I had passed out.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
I wake up, and as if the situation wasn't humiliating enough, I had pulled down an entire underwear tower.
Oh
I
no.
had crashed into one of the underwear towers that was in the front of the store. I had silk thongs all over me. My body is consumed in hives. I'm like hyperventilating. And I look up and my boss is just standing over me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So then I just start violently like ripping off layer like my jacket, and I pull off my long sleeve shirt, so I just have like my cami underneath, and I'm in my pants like standing in the middle of the store, and from front to back, top to bottom, I'm covered in hives.
Wow. That was a
Yeah,
severe reaction.
I know.
Jeez.
It was
So did your
terrible.
boss realize that this was something that you didn't mean to do? Like, I'm not just
Well,
flinging thongs into the
I
hallway for no good reason.
so not only am I throwing underwear trying to get myself out of this pile of underwear, I've made a complete spectacle. I'm not getting a sale, I'm guessing, because now everyone's horrified because it looks like I'm transforming into some Marvel character.
She may not buy that perfume after
I
all.
know. So they take me in the back, and I'm just sitting there itching and hyperventilating. And I'm like, "What am I supposed to do?" I'm 18 years old. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And
Mhm.
she's like, "Just go home." I'm like, "What?" So then I'm walking through the mall, basically with no shirt on, just like a bralette and my pants, carrying my jacket at a distance so it doesn't touch my skin. My skin is red and on fire. So I didn't know what to do. I went back to my other job, and my manager was kind of like a mom-ish, and I'm like, "Help me."
Aw.
I don't know what to
Oh,
do.
look what happened.
She takes me in the back and she gives me some Benadryl, and I'm like, "Oh, thank goodness." And then finally, my boyfriend, who's my husband now, came to pick me up, and he's like, "Do you think you're fired?" Like, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
My
Luckily, I
gosh, that's
wasn't, but my sales weren't
oh,
great because I tried to avoid selling perfume at all costs. So that wasn't great.
yeah. That was a real hazard, a real occupational hazard at that
I
point.
know.
I'm just picturing you laying on the floor with thongs all across your face.
Yeah, it was. It
Holy
was like
cow.
a curtain of underwear over my face, and I had to kind of like pull them off to see the crowd like standing over me in horror. And as I go to get
Oh.
up, even the floor, the underwear is so silky that it's slippery. And so I can't
Oh
even
my
get
gosh.
any balance to get up. So I'm like
I
slipping,
can't
trying to,
even gain traction.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, "Damn these silky thongs. I can't get off the I did not work seasonal there again.
Oh my gosh.
It
Well,
was
you
awful.
were working yourself too hard and your body was like, what the heck are you doing? Take some
I
Benadryl and go to bed.
Exactly. It just freaked out. Like, "Nope, we're gonna shut this down." Like, just when you had your
Wow.
friend call and pretend to be your dad and quit for you, your body is just quitting for you right now. Like, we've had enough. We're not going to size, 65-year-old women for lingerie anymore today. We're shutting it down. So,
Oh my gosh. Has your body ever had all over hives again since then?
yes, it has, unfortunately. I went on a mom date or like a play date with our kids and these friends of ours. We went to the Scottsdale Arabian Horse Show. Everything was fine. We were at the show, and then we went out to the pen where the horses were warming up for the arena. And the
Mm-hmm.
kids were able to pet the horse, and they thought that was really cool. And so we were talking to the trainers. And then within a couple minutes, I was like in respiratory distress. I was
Oh my gosh.
in hives again, and I couldn't breathe, and I was like starting to wheeze and cough, and I'm like, I don't want to ruin everyone's fun, so I'm trying to just like play it off like,
You're
"Oh
like,
no, it's
I'm
fine. I
fine. I'm
can't."
fine.
Always the martyr, right, for everyone else's enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's getting worse and it's getting worse, and I finally tell my friend, I'm like, "I think I need to go. Like, I'm in trouble." So I'm walking with my 3 kids, and I'm not breathing very well, and my body is all broken out. I know I have an inhaler in the car if I could just get to the car. So we get to the car. I'm like wheezing so bad. I could barely breathe and I'm so broken out.
Oh.
And the kids are starting to cry like, the horses are going to kill mom. What are we going to do? And so I'm like, oh, I was trying to think of what to do, like open my airways. So I'm itching, and I'm looking through my car and I have like a pack of Altoids or like mints. And I remembered when my son had pneumonia, if you shock their system with something cold, like take them outside, that it will help open their airways. So I popped like 20 mints in my mouth and then chugged some ice water. So my mouth is like on fire and I have this horrible brain freeze and now I'm freezing and burning up at the same time from the hives. So I'm driving home at kind of like a breakneck speed and my kids are like freaking out. And I told my son to call my husband from the car and he's like trying to tell my husband, Mom's dying while she's driving home. She's going to pull into the driveway, bring in her puffer thing because she can't breathe. So I get home and he brings it into the driveway and I'm like taking puffs from it and I'm like, get the Benadryl. He's like, what the heck happened to you? And then I popped a whole bunch of Benadryl, took a big long nap and I woke up and as I'm waking up, my son is standing there. He's like, we're not going to lose you.
You're alive. She's alive.
She's alive. But then I had these like burns in my mouth from having so many mints in there at the same time. I'm like, oh my gosh. My husband's like, you're a mess. We can't take you anywhere.
Like, your creative genius is getting you in trouble right now, sister.
I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I could have drove myself to the hospital, I suppose, and got like an EpiPen.
Well,
that might have made
kids. Yeah, I mean,
right.
But I was gonna say, I think you need an EpiPen.
You know what? I don't, but now I'm totally considering it because I don't have any idea what could do it at this point. I have had reactions from perfume, horses, certain kinds of medicine, so I'm sure it would be advised. I just witnessed my first somebody actually getting hit with an EpiPen.
Oh, really?
Like a week ago. Mm-hmm. It was not great timing, I gotta be honest. I took my kids to get their vaccination, and the person that was there before us was a nurse getting a booster. Immediately after her shot, she wasn't feeling good. So she was sitting in the chair, and my boys were sitting there kind of looking at her, not quite sure. Then she started having some respiratory distress, and the pharmacist had to come out and pop her with the EpiPen in the leg. And the kids were like, wow, oh my gosh. And then
wide-eyed, like, what the heck are we here for?
Like, we're leaving now, right? I'm like, no, we have to do this. And then paramedics showed up and had to take her to the hospital, actually. So it was a whole event. But I had never actually seen anybody other than in the movies.
Yeah, I haven't actually either. And I have a lot of allergies in my family, including a child with allergies. And we have EpiPens, but we've never had to use them, luckily. So the problem with EpiPens is they're expensive and they expire. Yeah. But I just feel like it might save your life.
I think, being that I'm so unpredictable and these little outings that are supposed to be, fun and entertaining turn into like near-death experiences, it would probably be advice.
Your body has some strange reactions.
Oh, does it ever? It is just a barrel of fun, I gotta tell you.
Working. Gosh, okay, tell me the time you got stuck in some pants.
Oh my gosh, okay. I went shopping as part of an exposure therapy that I was doing, and I had like a person at one of the boutique places that was helping me pick out clothes, which were admittedly horrendous. And she got me these pair of jeans, and I was like, oh, these are nice, but I don't think these are going to fit me. And she's like, well, they're in European sizes, and so try it on. So I tried them on, and I come out and I'm looking, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like the way these look on me. And she's like, okay, we'll take them off. Well, easier said than done. I got into the fitting room and I went to pull them off. Have you seen the episode of Friends where Ross gets stuck in the leather pants?
The leather pants, yes.
Okay, it was like that. I got them on, but I could not get them off. And so I'm there.
I'm link to that YouTube video for anyone who's not familiar. It's definitely worth seeing.
I'm in there in the fitting room, and it's a tiny space. So now the claustrophobia between being stuck in the pants and being in the small fitting room are just, the walls are closing in. So I start panicking and sweating, and I'm trying to pull these pants off, and I can't, and they won't go past like the middle of my thigh. So I lay down on the ground and I call out for help to the lady, and I said, please come help me get out of these pants. And she's like, you've got to be kidding me. I said, wish I was, but I'm not. So she comes over, and it was taking brute force. She is pulling as hard as she possibly can. I am bracing myself against the bench, like holding onto it to give her leverage.
Oh,
we are like literally in a tug of war with these pants. They will not move. So I'm sitting there now in the middle of this fitting room with the door wide open, just in my underwear, with these pants that will refuse to come off. And I'm just sweating and crying. And the poor lady is like, I don't know what's happening. And I said, I don't know what's happening either, but we need to resolve this immediately because I'm going to be arrested.
Get some scissors.
Yeah, I'm going to be arrested for indecent exposure. So that's what she says. She says, I will cut them off. And I said, the hell you will. These pants say they're $175. I am not paying for these pants. I will suffer this humiliation of you stripping them from my body. So I flip over into it like a tabletop position, or more like a cobra, if you know yoga. So I'm in an arched back mermaid-esque position, and I just tell her to pull. She's like, what? I reach up under the bench to hold on to the legs of the bench, and I said, just pull. And she is pulling with all her might. She has attracted some additional patrons in the store who are watching this go down. She finally gets the pants down to my ankles. I rip them off. I put my pants back on. I don't even put my shoes back on. I don't even button my shirt back up. I just like, I'm out of here. She's like, aren't you going to buy anything? I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like,
See you later. See you never.
Exactly. I've cried off all my makeup, so there's just mascara running down my face. My hair is sweaty. I'm super disheveled. And she has the audacity to ask me if I'm going to buy this death trap. No, I'm not.
She must have been on commission.
I think she was, because it was like a Houty boutique, like a Houtsy, whatever that. I never go there. And so, but my therapist was like, just try things that you don't do regularly and see how it goes. And so when I reported back to her that I was, a Chinese finger trap in these pants, I'm like, how is this supposed to help me feel better? I feel worse. I feel worse about this. She's like, you were supposed to, like, what not to wear experience, right? Like somebody was going to dress you for your body and your shape, and you're going to feel great and empowered. And I was like, now I will live in sweatpants till the day I die, because now I have PTSD from the dressing room.
Close-fitting pants are not an option for me anymore.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
It was traumatic.
I'm sorry. That's a rough experience. That makes my experience of getting stuck in a dress at Dillard's sound like child's play.
I heard that. I laughed, and it made me think of that. I'm like, you know what? I have been there. It's an experience. Like, you're like, okay, the first couple seconds, this is all right, this is weird. And then it goes on. You're like, okay, then the panic really sets in. Like, I'm
you're like,
going to be stuck forever.
I'm stuck. I'm going to need help. All of a sudden, this private, intimate dressing room is feeling very public.
Exactly. And then the door swings wide open. So you're on display in this moment of humiliation. I went out and stress puked into their garbage can. So,
oh my gosh. Oh.
So I was, disheveled and barefoot, covered in mascara and sweat, and throwing up outside of their boutique in their trash can.
Wow, that is a terrible experience. I'm so sorry.
But it's funny now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was not at the time.
Yes. Well, it's time to talk about what you've been loving lately that you think the listeners might love too.
This is all very retail based. I just realized today. I am loving Old Navy's new body quality campaign. So Old Navy started doing a full body inclusive in-store shopping experience where they are carrying every size from 0, I think, to 30. And the larger sizes, the smaller sizes, they're all the same price for shopping inclusivity. So, they really listened to their customers and heard that friends or family members or whoever, or even, parents and kids, they can't shop together because they didn't have the sizes in store. And now they're making it available. And Adie Bryant from SNL, which if she's so hilarious, she's the face of the campaign, and her commercials are hilarious. The outtakes from her commercials are hilarious. So
Oh my
it's
gosh,
just,
okay, I'll link to some of those too. How fun.
It's super inclusive. I'm always, body inclusivity. I'm always for that. I've always been a huge fan of Aerie, which is American Eagle soft line. They do full body inclusivity. And one of the things that Old Navy started doing as well, and Aerie has been doing this since they launched their campaign, is you can actually see real women of the size of the clothes that you're trying to try on or buy, with those clothes on. So, you don't have to use your imagination to think if a shirt will fit you. You can actually see somebody of that same.
Well, that's really interesting because I actually very recently did a photo shoot for my line of loungewear. And I had somebody representing all the sizes that I sell. And we put all our stats right on the website.
Mm-hmm.
This is so-and-so. She weighs this. Her bra size is this. Her pants or dress. This is how tall she is. And this is what she looks like in this style, this style, this style, and this style. This is the size she likes to wear. Because I think it makes good sense, especially for online shopping.
Right. And with Aerie too, none of their photos are retouched either. So you really get to see real women in bras, underwear, loungewear, bathing suits, all of the things that you typically don't get to see, or all of the things that you typically see on social media that are highly filtered or retouched. And so both of those lines are just so amazing, doing such good things for body equality and inclusivity.
I love it. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a crazy coincidence that you can tell us about?
Crazy coincidence? I have a coincidence in that me and my brother are both married to people named Jordan.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
It makes it very confusing.
It does. So his wife is named Jordan and my husband is named Jordan. And so whenever we talk to people, our family, we have to say, your Jordan or my Jordan, or, her Jordan or him Jordan. So that's kind of a coincidence that we have in our family that's, I don't know, necessarily crazy, but yeah, it can get confusing.
I think it's pretty crazy. I like it. Okay, tell the listeners again where they can find you online.
Right now, I have writing profiles with Her View from Home, and I have writing profiles with Scary Mommy. My Instagram still isn't public. Still working on getting my own site up and going here.
Well, I will be watching out for that. If you get the site up and running, email the link to me and I'll add it to the show notes for your episodes.
Oh, totally.
So, Nickey, since you are somebody who wears a bra 24/7, I am remembering that properly.
Yes,
am I not? Okay.
That's me. Yep.
I don't know why I didn't ask you this last time. I have pajamas with built-in bras, and I would love your opinion about them. I don't know if that would be enough bra for you, though. It's like a built-in shelf bra with 2 cups, and it's kind of stretchy and soft, good nipple coverage, a little bit of support, but not like overly supportive. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I would probably still wear it with like a bralette or like a sports bra, maybe like a really light coverage sports bra, light impact.
So that wouldn't really be a product that would be helpful to you because you're still going to wear something under it.
I would probably still wear it though to bed. I would still wear it underneath like flannels, and I would still, because I like the extra coverage. Like, I always have kind of this zombie apocalypse mentality of like the worst is going to happen. And so
who's going to see my nipples?
No, I need to have good support to like run, right? Like,
I see.
Yeah. Like everybody's going to be like, I need food and I need water. And I'll be like, I need that too. But like, give me some bras so that way I can be like, I can run. I just feel like if it's me versus somebody else running, and I'm already supported, I'm going to have a leg up, even if my cardio isn't, at its peak performance.
Absolutely. You don't need the pendulum swing of the mass going in the wrong direction.
Right. I need 2 free hands. I can't have one like holding across my chest and running. Like that's not effective.
For sure.
Yep.
The number of times that I have said, and much to my daughter's humiliation, sometimes out loud in public, I'm not wearing the right bra for this. Like, they'll be like, come on, Mom, run. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I'm not wearing the right bra for this.
Yes.
You're like, Lord, Mom. I'll send you the link for the website and you tell me which top or dress you would like to try. And I will send it to you.
Oh my gosh, that would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for coming back on the show with me today. It was just as much fun as last time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys. Nickey does not disappoint. She's so funny. And I think she's probably going to be a regular on the Fancy Free podcast. If time was of no limit, I think Nickey and I would start a podcast together. We have so much fun chatting with each other and have so many things to discuss, but we'll definitely at least have her on a few more times. Definitely come back next week. We've had a little bit of a rearrangement of the schedule. Next week is going to be Teresa Bodecker's daughter, Ashley. Ashley has some great stories. You're going to love it. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening so that new episodes pop into your feed each week. Also, make sure that you go to shelfieshop.com. That's SHELFIE.com for your amazing built-in shelf bra, loungewear, and pajamas that will change your at-home wardrobe and what you want to wear in the no bra zone. And if you use the coupon code FANCYFREE, you will get free shipping within the continental United States. And if you're in Canada and you want to place an order, email me at Joanne, JOANNE .shelfieshop, SHELFIE @gmail.com. And we will look together at what your shipping would be and make it work for you. If you'd like more laughter, sharing, and connection, join the Fancy Free Facebook group. It's our own little private slice of the internet, and everyone in there is a Fancy Free listener who has a ticklish funny bone like I do, so it's so much fun. Have a wonderful week, and remember, no one is as fancy as they look.